Hello and welcome into this week's ARCA Racing Series Rewind show right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, consider going down below to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. On today's ARCA Rewind, we're looking back at Saturday's 11th race of 2019. The day-to-day coffee, 150, 120 laps, 150 miles around the 1.25 mile World Wide Technology Raceway at Gateway in Madison, Illinois. 5 caution flags in this race for a total of 32 laps. Bit of a chaotic race. Lots happening in this race. Lots happening with championship implications. We'll get to that momentarily. Actually, we'll get to it right away as lap number 11, first caution of the night. Brett Holmes spins in turn 2 and collects the wall. Start of a not good night for Brett Holmes. Lap number 28, the 55 of Gavin Harlan, the X Games Stadium Super Truck star, making his stock car debut. He came to a rest in turn 2 and brought out the caution. Lap number 42, the 54 of Tanner Gray, wrecks in turn 3 and 4, made contact with the outside wall. Lap number 68, second caution of the night for Brett Holmes as he wrecks once again in turn 2. Final caution came at lap 109 as the 77 of Joe Graff Jr. stopped on the track in the backstretch. He was assessed a 5-lap penalty for this as he did continue after the caution came out. That is a no-no, and ARCA officials came down hard on him with a 5-lap penalty after this happened. Alright, 7 lead changes in this race among 6 drivers. Michael Self led the most laps. The first 41 laps were led by him from the pole. 32 laps were led by Ty Gibbs. 23 laps went to Christian Eckes. 10 laps led by Travis Braden. 9 laps went to Sam Mayer. And 5 laps led by Joe Graff Jr. Like I said, Self led the first 41 from the pole. Christian Eckes took the lead from him, though, for the next 4 laps before we hit a caution. Joe Graff Jr., after the cycle of pit stops, had a couple of guys stay out. Graff takes the lead for 5 laps. Then it's assumed by Travis Braden. Braden holds the lead for 10 laps before Eckes makes his way back to the lead. Leads another 19 laps before being wrestled away by Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs had the fastest car in this race at the end of the race, as he usually does. One thing I have really noticed about Ty Gibbs is you don't hear a lot from him in practice. You don't usually hear a lot from him in qualifying. You don't usually hear a lot from him in the beginning of the race. But he's one of these guys I've noticed that is constantly learning behind the wheel of the car. Every time he goes to one of these tracks this year, it's his first time at this track. And inevitably, he is right there at the end of the race, contending for the win. He is one of the best drivers I've ever seen at learning a track. He may not be great at it when he first rolls off the truck and starts making laps at, for instance, Gateway. But by the time we get to the end of the race, he's always there. Every single week that we have Ty Gibbs in the ARCA Menard series, he is there, and he has figured out the track by the end of the race. And it's no wonder he had 3 second-place finishes already coming into this race, and every race that he wasn't in second, he was up there contending for the win before something happened. So Gibbs leads 31 laps after this. Then we have more pit stops on the final caution for the Joe Graff Jr. incident. Most of the leaders pit, some of them didn't. Sam Mayer assumes the lead with 10 laps to go. And this is more of a strategy call, trying to steal a win here. Mayer, those GMS guys knew they didn't have the fastest car, but they're trying to steal a win here. See if they can play the pit strategy and win off of not pitting on the final caution. It almost worked out. Ty Gibbs and Christian Eckes flew their way through the pack after this restart. Gibbs restarted 9th, Eckes restarted 8th, I believe is where they restarted in this race. By the time we got like 2 laps after this restart, they were 2nd and 3rd. Ty Gibbs 2nd, Christian Eckes 3rd, hunting down Sam Mayer. Mayer successfully held both of them off until the final corner. Turns 3 and 4 on the final lap when Ty Gibbs puts the bumper to Sam Mayer, moves him out of the way, takes a bump and run, and Ty Gibbs comes away with his first career ARCA Menard Series victory. I kept saying I knew it was going to happen eventually. Finally happened at Gateway, and in such impressive fashion. He had been denied so many times, so many second place finishes. He did not want that fourth second place finish before the win. He wanted that first win, and he took it on the final lap. Ty Gibbs is your winner from Gateway. An absolutely beautiful drive out of Ty Gibbs. Really cool to see. Just fantastic drive out of Ty Gibbs. This is a future superstar in the making. Ty Gibbs will go far in this sport. I have seen enough in ARCA already to be able to say that Ty Gibbs will be a superstar in this sport, and we are just seeing the beginning of what is sure to be a fantastic career out of Ty Gibbs. Christian Eckes was able to sneak by underneath Mayer off of turn 4 for a second place finish in this race, and Mayer had to settle for a third place finish. Corey Heim came home in 4th, and Carson Hocevar rounds out the top 5. Rest of your top 10, Drew Dollar making his ARCA debut in the 4-car for DGR Crosley. He came home with a respectable 6th place finish. Travis Braden in 7th. Gavin Harlan, he in his ARCA debut as well. The X Games Stadium Super Trucks Star came home in the 8th position in his debut. A good run for him as well. We talked to him before the race, both about his debut in ARCA and how different that is from everything he has done so far, as well as his autism awareness and hashtag for Presley paint scheme that he ran this weekend, a very special paint scheme to him. If you didn't see that, I'll have it linked down below in the description. A very cool tribute he does to his sister who has autism, and just very cool, very good guy all around. It's definitely one that I think you'll want to see. Thad Moffitt came home with a strong 9th place finish, and Brett Holmes, even after both wrecks that he was involved in, he does come home with a top 10 finish in 10th. 11th through 20th, Joe Graff came home in the 11th position after his 5-lap penalty. 13th was Michael Self. He was out after 85 laps with a broken axle. That seems to be a theme here with these Venturini cars. Chandler Smith, I believe, had one of those on this night as well, and I seem to recall one from another Venturini car in a recent race as well, but I can't remember exactly where it was from. So that's something I think I'm sure they're looking into that they definitely want to get addressed here very quickly. Chandler Smith, after being behind the wall for a while with his axle issue, they got it fixed and then had to serve a 5-lap penalty for unapproved pitting. I don't remember exactly what the penalty was. It was something to do with unapproved pitting or something like that. ARCA really coming down with a lot of 5-lap penalties in this race. But after serving that and being behind the wall for a long period of time for his axle issue, he came home in the 16th position. Tanner Gray, after his wreck, came home in 17th. And then final page down here, 21st and 22nd. Rick Clifton out at lap 5 with a drive shaft issue. And Wayne Peterson, shotgun on the field in 22nd, did not make a lap in this race due to brake issues. That's your results from the Day-to-Day Coffee 150. Working on a Ty Gibbs interview. It will be done at some point today. I'm not sure exactly when yet. It has not been recorded yet at the time of this recording, so I'm not 100% sure if it has already gone up by the time this does go up or if it's going to go up here in a little bit. If it has already gone up, it will be linked down below in the description. If not, make sure your notifications are turned on and you will know when we have our winner interview with Ty Gibbs, and you'll get to hear his thoughts following this first ARCA victory. So, that being said, let's move on to the point standings following Gateway. They have been shaken up just a bit, especially with Michael Self having his axle issue there in the middle of the race. The gap has shrunk just a bit, not as much as it could have, with Brett Holmes also having a not-so-great night. The gap now is 30 points from Michael Self to Brett Holmes. 45 back in third now is Travis Braden, and then 65 back in fourth is Christian Eckes. And then Joe Graff Jr. continues to lose ground back here. He now sits 160 back in the 5th position. And then obviously Ty Gibbs there has moved back into the top 10 in 9th with his win, and Tim Richmond still holds down that 10th position. But that's your point standings following the Day-to-Day Coffee 150 from World Wide Technology Raceway. And I believe that'll do it for us on this ARCA Rewind. K&N Rewind went up just a little bit ago for their race in Sonoma. And then a Truck Rewind coming up here shortly as well for their race in the doubleheader from Gateway on Saturday night. So be sure to look out for that. Lots of fun stuff happening on Saturday. We had 3 really good races on Saturday between K&N, ARCA, and Trucks. So if you missed any of that, we do have you covered with these Rewind shows. And then, of course, a Cup Rewind coming up here later once their race in Sonoma wraps up. So if you haven't done it already, you need to go down below, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. While you're down there, why don't you hit that big thumbs up button if you like the video. It is much appreciated when you do. But at that, this has been the ARCA Series Rewind Show. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.